Hello and welcome to our third office hours of week one. Whoa, it sounds a little loud in my headphones. Yeah, so I'm here. I'm here for an hour. I got to bounce in 90 minutes, so this time will cut off at 1 p.m. I have not received any emails, at least as of about 20 minutes ago. Any question submissions over email, of course, I will refresh those and check. But as it appears, at least at the moment, I am available. Well, I'm always available to answer live questions, but if no live questions come in, this may be a silent afternoon office hours of me sipping coffee, which at my stage in the game is a medical necessity. I have a 2-year-old, and I'm teaching 7 classes at 3 different colleges this semester. So life is crazy. Coffee's there for you. So, or it's there for me, and it can be there for you, should you choose to use it. I am ready and eager to answer any of your questions, he said to the empty, deepening darkness. Maybe the only one here at the moment. But if anybody pops in, hit me up. I'm gonna go start checking my emails to see if there were any submissions between when I last checked them and now. If not, I will continue on the productivity train, and I hope that anybody out there will enjoy me sipping on coffee. Oh, here we go. We have questions. Awesome. I'm not alone in this universe. Corinne's a great question. Whoops. Question. Or question. There we go. Okay, so with exams this semester, they're locked until they close. So you'll be able to view, when they're unlocked, you'll be able to view which questions you got right and which question you got wrong. The reason why, and you may be going, well, wait a minute, I thought the exam closed on Monday. Shouldn't it be unlocked? And the exam did close on Monday, but some waitlisted students weren't able to add the course until after the prereq exam closed, and so it's still open for them. I reopened it for them, and I'm giving them the same window that the rest of the class had. So everybody who started day 1 had this window to take the exam, and then I'm giving all the waitlisted students who added the same window. So once it closes for the waitlisted ads, then I'll unlock the exam for everybody. So that's the short answer. Totally. Raj, it is always a pleasure to see you. How are you doing? I actually, I was actually thinking about you. Oh, Carenza, you are so totally welcome. So Dang, man, that is intense. Dude, I'm using Discord now. Yeah. um, oh. Here, let me write that down. That is a great name. Let's see. Okay, here, let me write this down. Dr. Nerdy Orcs. That's so good. Number 1861. Beautiful. Here, let me. I don't know my number. Let me find out what that is. I'm still a little bit of a Discord boomer. Oh, there we go. Is it down here? Okay. Questions up in the chat. Let me see. For the lab flow enrollment code. Oh, okay. Ah. Let's see. Okay, so first off, so for lab flow enrollment. I believe, so I don't know this for a fact. I believe you use O4 for the lab section. So, and this is actually, so in the spirit of full disclosure, this is my my first semester teaching with LabFlow. So I've never been through kind of the enrollment process. I'm on it myself, but they auto-enrolled me because I'm faculty. Excuse me. So anyways, I believe you use O4. but someone who has used it before is if you want to be sure, check with Doctor. And I'm teaching with two different, yes, I'm teaching with two different lead instructors. So if you're in 04, then that's, okay, yes. So you'll, to be sure, check with Dr. Lucero. If you need further clarification on that, because she has taught this before, so this is my first rep using kind of lab flow and all that stuff. So I believe you use 04, but if that doesn't work out for you, Dr. Lucero has used this before. She used it last semester, so we're all kind of new, but I'm slightly more new than she is. Totally. Okay, Alexis, you've got a question. When will we be able... Totally. Alexis, great question. So... Alexis, once the exam closes, then I'll, right now it's locked. I will unlock it once it closes, so that you can see which ones you marked incorrect. It won't display the answers at that point in time, but you will be able to see what you got right and wrong. And then the ones that you got wrong, obviously you can use those as practice problems. Now you may be going, well, wait a minute. I thought the exam closed Monday. Why haven't you unlocked it yet? And yes, that's it. Exactly. And the reason why, so it did close Monday. However, we had some students on the wait list were not able to add until after the exam was over. And so for those students who added late, I reopened it for them so they'd have the same window of time to take it as everybody who was enrolled on day one. So the reason why I haven't unlocked it yet is we're still waiting for all of the late ads to finish taking the prereq exam. Once they have, then I'll unlock it for everybody to see. And when I do, I'll post an announcement on Canvas so that you know, you won't be waiting in the dark having to like check. Is it open? Is it open? I'll post on Canvas once the last late ad takes the exam, and then you'll be able to see which ones you got right and you got wrong. So yeah, so that's the answer there. Okay, let's see. Oh. Oh, um, Alexis, LabFlow is not for Chem 400 at all. So LabFlow is the software that they use for organic chemistry lab at Sac State. So I'm teaching OChem lab at Sac State. I'm teaching general chemistry, which is Chem 400 at Folsom Lake College. And then I'm teaching Chem 100, which is Intro Chem at Southwestern College. And so the office hours that I'm holding are open to all my students. So that lab flow question has nothing to do with Chem 400. I should actually add that. This is what I'll be doing, actually, each office hour. I forgot to do it for this. problem is I will be writing at the top of the page which class I'm currently addressing on the whiteboard. Okay, let's see here. Sorry, let me catch up. Okay. So here, let's switch gears. Let's switch gears to Chem 400. All right. So here's the thing. Okay. So and I feel okay, so with Chem 400, as you know, there is one lecture, so everybody in lecture takes direction from me, and I am king over all lecture content. We have two different instructors teaching two lab sections attached to my lecture section. So the thing that is true that I set of lab for both labs are the fact that lecture is worth 70% of your grade and lab is worth 30% of your grade, all right? And this is true for all sections. Oops. All right, that's the one thing that I get a say in over for both sections. Everything else in the course. So and now speaking of lab. So for lab, when it comes to assignments, data sets, due dates, late policies, Raj, always a pleasure to see you. So sorry, Alexis, for your assignments, your data sets, your due dates, your late policies, etc. All of this stuff is decided this is determined by each lab instructor separately. All right, and this has been the frustrating part. Oops, it's not. This has been the frustrating part for you're not alone in this part being frustrating. There have been several students who have been confused and frustrated and didn't know what to do, and because your professor, your lab instructor is telling them, oh, just do whatever, I'm doing, but you don't have access to my Canvas, and I'm here telling you like he's your lab instructor, he's the one who has to decide those things. That's the way it is. I have jurisdiction over my lab, so I set the number of assignments, the types of assignments, the data sets, the due dates, the late policies, all that um, logistical stuff I set for my lab section. And all of those types of questions I can't answer for his section because I'm not teaching that section. He is, and so he's the one who's in control of all of those facets. Um, and so here's the thing. Anytime Professor Foster tells you that you need to get something from me for lab, you need to ask him for it. What I've done is I've made my class, I know he wants his lab to be like mine, which is fine. I've made my syllabus available to him. I've made my entire Canvas course available to him so he can see how I've laid out all the assignments and he can see when I've made the assignments do all that stuff. And he's more than welcome to use all of that if he so chooses. But the thing is, that's his call. And when he makes that call, then he has to incorporate it into your class. And so if he deflects and says, oh, just do whatever he's doing, you can be very clear with him that I told you, because this is the truth and this is the way things are, that those are his decisions to make. So data sets have to come from him, due dates have to come from him, late policy, all that stuff. All the assignments have to come directly from your lab instructor. I don't have jurisdiction there. So, and this is the frustrating part because you feel, and understandably so, that your instructor should just be telling you these things. You have to gently, kindly insist that he give them to you, and because there's nothing I can do. I have no control over his section because he's the instructor for it. So I so acknowledge that it's frustrating that as a student you're having to do this much legwork just to get your assignments. I totally acknowledge that, and but the only thing you can do is keep kindly, gently, persistently emailing him, asking him in office hours, and anytime he tries to deflect one of these things to me, you can tell him that I told you that assignments, data sets, due dates, late policies are all decided individually by the lab instructors, and so you need to get that from him. I've also been in communication with him. We've exchanged some emails, and I've let him know that he needs to take responsibility for these things because these are the things that are attached to his course. So I want you to know that I'm doing my best to communicate to him what his responsibilities are, and I've been very clear and open and direct and kind to let him know, dude, you can't just tell your class do whatever my class is doing because you're the only one who can make decisions for your class. I can't. Because here's the thing. In the registrar, when you go to class rosters, I can't see his class roster, and he can't see mine, because he's in charge of his and I'm in charge of mine, and because it's split that way, he's got to take responsibility. Yes. Alexis, yeah. I'm so sorry that you're in this position. I'm sorry. I totally acknowledge that it's frustrating and it's hard. And as difficult as it is, what you need to do is to kindly um, keep bringing this up. You know what I'm gonna do? Here, let me make a note of this so I don't forget. Here. Um, 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 Alexis, what I'm gonna do, and I just dropped it in the chat, and I'm making a note here because I have a brain like a sieve. So if I don't write something down, I will totally forget it. I'm going to add, whoops. Hang on. Oh man. Okay, here. Let me just write this down so I don't forget it. Um, okay, sorry, I wrote that down so I won't forget to do it. Oh man, dude, I am so sorry. You know, I want to be careful with what I say because it's, you know, I want to be understanding and sympathetic, and you know, I don't. Yeah, I I I don't want to throw anyone under the bus. I completely empathize with your position, with the position that you're in, and like it's 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 yep, totally, totally. I totally agree. He does need to care because this matters for everyone. I believe I've taught with him in the past, um, and in general, uh, if I'm being totally candid, I think that I am a harsher grader than he is. So I wouldn't be worried um, about your grade. And here's another reason why I wouldn't worry about your grade. Whenever I co-teach a lab at the end of the semester, I look at my lab average and my uh, whenever there's two instructors and I'm lead instructor in charge of lecture, I look at my lab average and I look at the other instructor's lab average and I compare the two and I make sure that they're like the same, because at the end of the semester, if I look at one of them and one of them is significantly lower than the other one, that means that due to the way that instructor has graded, it's put the students in their lab at a disadvantage. So I I I don't curve the class overall. I never have, but one thing that I do is if there's a disparity between like where the two lab levels are, I will curve up one so they're both at the same level. So, um, in my experience, um, Professor Foster grades softer than I do, so I don't believe that your grade will suffer as a result of being in his class. Um, I realize that the lack of communication is stressful, so your nerves may suffer, but I don't believe your grades will. But I also just want you to know that I am the one who assigns letter grades to each person at the end of the semester, and I look at the two averages and I look to see is there a difference, and if there is, like if his is way lower than mine, then your section's average gets curved up um, to account for the fact that there's a disparity in grading. So don't let that worry. I doubt that your section will need the curve. If anything, my guess is that mine will. But if yours does, it'll get that help at the end. So don't worry for your GPA. Um, yeah, totally. I gotcha. And the whole section. I empathize so hard with you guys. Part of the problem, not problem, but is I'm an adjunct instructor. I'm part time, and what that means is there's a cap, there's a limit to the amount of classes I can teach, and the number of that cap is met when I have one lecture and one lab. I would love to just be able to teach both lab sections, and then I could guarantee consistency and guarantee communication and all that stuff. Unfortunately, because I'm part time, I have to co-teach, and yeah, and so that's why the situation exists. Alexis, one thing you need to know is you never need to apologize. You never need to apologize for bringing issues like this to my attention, because the reality is these are things I need to know. This is part of the co-teaching thing is not just affecting those of you who are in his lab class. It's something that affects all of us. And I am co-teaching with Professor Foster. So I am a place that you can come. When you have issues, because I can help mediate those and work those out. What I can't do is I can't give you assignments, due dates, data sets, all that stuff. That's got to come from him. But I can help you with your communication with Professor Foster. I can communicate with him. I can try to get him to a place where maybe he's taking the reins of his class a little bit more. Because the thing is, everybody who's enrolled in lecture, each one of you is one of my students. And I am here to help and support you by doing all that I can within the constraints that I have. And so I just want you to know that you don't have to worry about sounding like a squeaky wheel. If there are still problems, then problems need to get fixed. I'm going to reach out to Professor Foster and possibly others, maybe within the department, to just try to get the communication going and get you guys the support that you deserve within your lab section. And it's you know, I like when there's a problem that's directly within my control, so I can just fix it. Like how I forgot you asked me to post a periodic table, and I'd forgotten, and then you brought it up in office hours, and I was like, oh shoot, I forgot. Here, let me write myself a note, go in and do it. Done. I can control it. I find it frustrating when there are problems outside my control that I can't resolve by just doing it myself, because I tend to be a bit of a doer. And so anyways, I thank you for bringing these issues to me. Never apologize, never feel bad about doing it, because I'm going to work with you with Professor Foster for you so that you can get these things resolved and hopefully get off to a semester. That is less frustrating than the beginning of it has been. I think it's hard enough to be in an online distance education chemistry lab. That's hard enough, just even with an instructor who's good at communicating and, you know, native to Canvas and all that stuff. So anyways, I thank you for bringing it up to me. I really do appreciate it. And like I said, I'm here to answer any and all questions thrown at me, including interpersonal ones. So thank you. And also thank you for being a voice for all the students in your lab section that are also feeling frustrated, because I know you're not alone. Actually, I know you're not alone because I get other emails. But for those who do email me, I know that there are others who haven't, who are experiencing similar frictions. And so I'm going to do everything that I can to resolve things, make things better. Totally. That is the Josh Tulipilo guarantee, for whatever it's worth. All right, let's see. Oh, no, not there. There it is. I can totally, I can totally take more questions, course-related ones or otherwise. We've kind of hit a lull in the chat. If there are no live questions, and again, I've got the chat open so I can see when you throw them at me. I'm gonna double check my emails just to see if any new ones have come through. All right, none there. There are a few other. That was loud. Okay, let's see. Ashley, just a couple questions about the prereq exam covering density. I wanted to make sure that I was doing them right. Heck yeah. Oops. Oh, okay, okay, totally. So let's, oops, there we go. Let's like this. Awesome, awesome. So let's say that we have something that is 25.0 has a density of 25.0 grams per. Oh, let's go with well, it doesn't matter. I can do it either way actually, whichever you prefer, but we'll start with grams per liter. All right. And if we want to convert this to grams per milliliter, here's how we set that up. So the important thing to remember, or to keep things straight, is numerator from denominator. Like you want to look at where those two are falling. And so if we want to convert liters to milliliters, so we need to do a unit conversion in the denominator. That means we want liters to cancel. We want to be left with milliliters in the denominator. So if liters are going to cancel, then we have to place them up here in the numerator of our conversion factor, and then we put milliliters down in the denominator. Now, I haven't even touched on or started thinking about what numbers go where. I'm just trying to place liters and milliliters so that liters are opposite each other, so they'll cancel, and we'll be left with our desired unit, milliliters, in the denominator. All right, so now that I've set up my liters to cancel, what I want to do is think, okay, how many milliliters are in a liter? And oops, hang on. Sorry, I need my paintbrush tool back. 1 milliliter has a volume of 10 to the negative third liters. This is also the same. You could also do 1 liter is 1,000 milliliters. They both work. They both work the same way. I've seen I've made my first mistake. Let me correct this. I didn't say 25. I said 25.0. All right. So 1 milliliter is 10 to the negative third liters. Now when we go to cancel, liters in the numerator cancels liters in the denominator, which is exactly why we're doing this situation. And now we need to punch our answer into our calculator. So when you do, bust out whatever calculator is most convenient for you. In my case, it's my phone, 25.0 times 10 to the third. So my calculator is giving me or telling me that my answer is 0.025. All right, now that is my correct value, but I have to ask how many significant digits should this answer have? And when you look, so liters to milliliters is within the metric system, so it's based on a definition. It's not measured, it's exact. So this unit conversion, because it's exact, will not limit our sig figs. What will limit our sig figs is the number of significant digits that our first quantity had, that our density had. And our density has 3, so our answer needs 3 sig figs. And one thing you'll notice is 0.025 only has 2 significant digits, so we need to add a 0 so that it has the correct number. And then our units will be grams per milliliter. All right, so that is how you handle a unit conversion in the denominator. What you got to do is set up your unit conversion so that your units cancel. That if you're canceling in the denominator, that means you got to put liters in the numerator, and that's how you get from point A to point B. Did that work out okay? Okay, awesome. I am so glad to hear it. Okay, I gotta run because I have another class to teach. But thank you everybody for coming out. Ashley, thanks for bringing up this great unit conversion question. I actually have office hours again tomorrow morning from the early bird session from 8 to 9. If none of you are awake then, email in your questions. I'll answer them. If not, it'll be a stream like Tuesdays where it was just me sipping coffee, answering emails. Thanks again to everybody for coming out. I will catch you next